And someone I know really, really well, Mr. Richard West, who I not only respect as a great artist and a playwright and a composer, but I adore as my guy. Here he comes with his guitar, and he's going to be talking Tuli.
The first thing you understand about Tuli, he's mostly known for these records that are in the 60s. One is on Broadside, the first one. And look, you see it? Can you see this? Well, you're shooting on a camera, so maybe your fans can see me.
Don't get too close.
This was, actually, this is the SP records. I also had a record on ESP, and I know what kind of treatment.
Stand in the light, right?
Pharoah Sanders was on this, and no light.
Just stand in the
Can we
light.
have full light over here?
Yeah.
Okay, can you all see this somewhat? Okay, these records still kick ass. They're great. And since I don't know if a lot of you people know anything about Tuli, and I imagine most of you people don't read the program, and that's what we have. We have one for Lanford Wilson and one for Ellen Stewart. And Tuli's last performance was here. And so we commemorated him as one of the all-time greats here in a way, and I wrote this tribute to him. I'd like to share this, the information. There's a good picture of him on here. He really looks very wild in this picture. It's in the program. You can get one up there. I think sometimes they ask you for $1 or something like that, but you know, it's not necessary. Okay, so Tuli, he was born in 1923 in September, and he died in July 2010. So tell me, how old is Tuli?
I'm over here. You're standing behind that, and I can't. I only see it. All right. Okay.
Bad feng shui, right?
Okay. All right.
Okay, so this is my take on Tuli. If there was ever a Marxist with a Groucho disposition, it was Tuli. Who was best known to many as an anarchist, a beat, a hippie, a 60s satirical songwriter with a comic persona to match. A key member of America's first countercultural underground folk rock band called the Fugs. They sang songs of social and political satire. Tuli is best known for songs like Nothing, Carpe Diem, which means seize the day, Kill for Peace, Supergirl, CIA Man Later, and he had a big hit with the beautiful Mournful Morning Morning, recorded by Richie Havens. And I met Richie last week, and he told me that it was a big hit for him also. The Fugs didn't get much airplay, a distinction previously held by Lenny Bruce and Phil Oakes. I never forget seeing them perform in my wild college days, P-A-Z-E. Ed Sanders was like the carnival pitchman comedian who transformed his act into a political foreplay of Blake and Swinburne with homages to Aphrodite, and Ken Weaver, the big bearded ex-GI whose songs pined for the slum goddess of the Lower East Side and complained that he couldn't get high. And then there was Tuli with a goofy smile playing the Clown Prince, doing a Rudy Valley imitation, replete with megaphone in his underwear, conducting a sing-along, Wet Dream Over You. Sing along. They did a lot of Wet Dreams. Although one of the original 50s beats, Tuli never thought of himself as a beat, but rather as a writer. And he published 2 literal journals in the 50s, Birth and Yeah, interviewing and defending the beats. But he was a product of the leftist political culture of the Depression. He graduated cum laude as a medical librarian from Brooklyn College, and he had a job. He tried to end it all in his final year of college by jumping off the Manhattan Bridge, but got picked up by a tugboat, and he became resigned to living. The funny thing is that Tuli's bleak, pessimistic outlook was developing in the comedy of a high gradient called satire. And so Tuli found his truest talent when he self-published 1,001 Ways to Live Without Working, and followed up 1,001 Ways to Beat the Draft, and I think there was one about sex like that too. He wrote so many books, and then he struck lightning on a bomb when the Fugs came together in the 60s. Now it was in the late 70s, and I was turning to my birthplace, Manhattan, from the West Coast, where I was a yoga teacher and radio show host, specializing in satire, and I knew and worked with many of Tuli's friends, including Allen Ginsberg, Abbie Hoffman, Jerry Rubin, and Phil Oakes. And there was a big divide those days between the spiritual and political factions in the counterculture. The spiritual people, they avoided politics, claiming you must first change yourself before you can change society. And the political people counted, change society and you will change yourself as well. Alan and I were somewhere in the middle, and we caught hell from both sides, which still goes down to this day with some of the people on the hard left, which is like the McCoys and the Hatfields and the Ozarks. The issues of holistic health and environment brought both groups together. And Tuli and I didn't always agree about everything, but we became friends when we collaborated on a New Age Follies. Tuli had a Jolson tape, Swami, how I love you, my dear old Swami. And I sang the Swami Sweepstakes. And we had I wrote a play then, it was one of my early radio plays. It was called You Sure Got a Lot of Nirvana. And so we did decades of a lot of collaborations when we weren't fighting with each other in many venues. And he moved me more to the left, and I lessened his moralistic certainties. Like many on the left, Tuli was a staunch pacifist and a purist when it came to a head with the first Gulf War, Kosovo, and NATO versus Gore. But our friendship outweighed our policy differences, and we collaborated right to the end here at the Theatre for New City. Tuli often reminded me of an old German proverb that maintained that he who practices the art of satire has the world as its enemy. First you have the government after you, then it's all the jealous phonies and hypocrites. Finally, it could even be your friends or lovers. Ask Groucho. The Fugs often closed their shows with a sing-along. Flow on, river of shit, was the that was the refrain. And it worked, you know, the first few years, every show I went to there, that's what they had. So it says in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the departed soul is asked two questions. Did you find joy in this life? And did you bring joy to others? Tuli sure as shit did.